Good evening, good evening. This is Barry Brown, author of the Amazon bestseller, The Student Athlete Playbook, and a part of the Student Athlete Achievement Program, Youth Education in Sports, our nonprofit charity organization. I'm here tonight with a real good friend of mine, my brother, Dwon Coolwater Alexander. How you doing, my brother?
Oh, man, I'm good, man. Appreciate you for having me and bringing me on. I'm doing real well.
Yes, sir. Excellent, man. Well, you know, we live in these crazy times right now. We're dealing with COVID-19, coronavirus, and we've basically been shut down as a country for what, since like March the 16th. Really, nobody's been flowing, and now things are starting to pick back up. People are going back out, and people trying to live their lives like they did before. But let's just start right there, man. As a businessman, as a leader on the digital landscape through social media and websites and the whole nine, how has this coronavirus, COVID-19, been affecting you and what you do as an entrepreneur?
Man, that's a great question. Really, it hasn't really touched me per se from an economic standpoint. I mean, I need the library at times, and that's been closed, you know, things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? I might need to run in there and do some printing or some things like that. Overall, It's not really had a major impact on me from the whole aspect of what they've been shutting down and how they have been kind of shifting everything around, and small businesses have been closed. It's probably been more beneficial because I'm already ahead of the curve. I've been online for, you know, a number of years, and have been, you know, making my trek to, you know, reach certain goals that I have set for myself. So at the moment, I'm not feeling a major impact. I think for the majority of the people who are not online, they are now working to get online to try to find some, you know, sustainability with what they were doing, because that's the part of the business or their business that they didn't never look into while they were offline, if you will.
I got you.
That's now.
I love it. I love it. That's a great point you just made. If you were not online already, then this is a huge adjustment for you, because everything has shifted to online. And I heard today, as a matter of fact, there's several companies that's saying they're going to allow their workforce to continue to work from home even after all this is over. So if I think if businesses have found out that their workforce is productive at home, hey, they can start eliminating some of this office space and get some of that overhead out the way financially, and now that's more money they can put in the coffers, and prayerfully is more money they can pay their employees that are doing a great job by working at home. And of course, it's going to help the emissions out here with all these cars and everything and vehicles out here in the world putting out the pollution. So, hey man, I love it. That's a great point you made there, brother. So now let's talk a little bit about student athletes. You played basketball in high school, correct?
Oh man, from 3rd grade to 12th grade.
That's what's up. Yes, sir.
All the way to the 12th grade.
That's right. So let's look at the landscape of the student athletes out there right now. The schools got shut down. The spring, the high, here in the state of Georgia, the high school basketball season, I'm talking about, it ended like 1 or 2 weeks before the country got shut down. So there's several states, their basketball championships were not able to be played because it happened right there when everything was starting to get shut down. So as a former student athlete, as an educator, because we both have education backgrounds as far as teaching and working with the youth, what are your thoughts on where is youth athletics going right now? Where are our high school sports going right now? As these schools, I spoke with a I spoke with a teacher today. I spoke with actually several educators today, and they're still trying to figure it out, man. They don't know what they're going to do in the fall as of right now. So what are your thoughts on that as far as student athletes and their role in these schools coming in the fall, if they get a chance to play, if they don't get a chance to play?
You know, that's a great question. The whole athletic association, from the NBA, NFL, college athletics, high school athletics, is being, you know, even middle school and elementary, is really being restructured. I think it will return to some level of normalcy, but it's going to be some restrictions that come into play with that.
Right.
I know I think you may have heard recently that the governor of California signed into law the collegiate athletes getting paid to play for their likeness, images, and things of that nature. Give some of those athletes the incentive to be able to draw some level of income while playing at the schools that they play for on, you know, certain college scholarships.
Right.
High School Athletic Association is probably behind the scenes planning right now themselves on how they're going to move, because high school athletics in particular is a big part of the community, you know, especially across the state of Georgia. You know, football in particular. You know, that's one area that's really big. And then you got the University of Georgia, so it trickles down. I think that in the grander scheme of things, it will return to some level of normalcy, but with some constrictions, because they're dancing around the virus or what have you, and trying to kind of put a fence around that, while, you know, bringing these athletes back into, you know, doing regular activities. I think they can get it back right. It just may take a minute. I know the Atlanta Falcons was making some adjustments. Hopefully they'll have, you know, individuals coming back into the stadium, because I don't see them not, you know, with a multi-billion-dollar stadium, you can't afford not to have, you know, an audience.
Yeah, the fans in there.
Because they got to pay for that stadium. That stadium got to get paid for. You can't have an empty stadium and they're paying these players. It just ain't going, the math don't add up. So I think that, you know, high school athletics and the high school coaches across the country and you know, here in the state are going to have to take a look at maybe restructuring parts of the auditorium. You know, maybe having some additional offsetting stadiums, you know, makeshift stadiums put in place, so that they can still bring in a capacity crowd, but try to keep people safe in the same sentence, so they can still give the kids something that, you know, we all want to see, which is them strive to, you know, be great athletes.
Right. Yeah, that's an interesting point, man. I've spoken with several people about this, and then listening to, you know, to the ESPNs of the world and all the different experts that are out there talking about this issue. I heard the Ohio State athletic director, and I know you're from the state of Ohio. You're a Buckeyes fan, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, right.
And they were talking about, you know, their stadium holds 100,000 plus people, and so they were talking about scaling it down to maybe 30,000 people and letting 30,000 people in, so they can do the social distancing properly.
Hey, slide your camera over just a little bit. Can you slide your camera over so I can see your face? There you go, because you kind of cut off on me a little bit. I can see you kind of got you going there.
You couldn't see my face, man?
Yeah, I see your face. But it was cutting off a part of it. I'm like, okay, maybe so we good now. I got you all the way now. Okay,
cool. Yeah. This is what happens when you got to deal with the COVID-19, man. We will be face to face right there together doing this stuff. So, man. Yeah, but we fighting. Everybody that's watching this video, we're fighting through this thing too, trying to figure this stuff out. But thank you for that, my brother. So he was talking about bringing in 30,000 people so they can still practice social distancing and the whole nine. So I think that's an interesting thing, because I started thinking, well, people still got to go to the bathroom. People still got to go to the, they're going to still go to, try to go to the concession stands. So how's this really going to work? Because they're going to still be up on each other. You got to come into the stadium.
Right.
You got to go through the little, you know, the little ticket gate and the whole nine. So it's like, man, I mean, it's a real tough situation as far as how you're going to put a crowd in the stadium and still practice social distancing. I don't know how it's going to be done. But one of the things you brought up when you started saying playing in empty stadiums, now the real deal is, I think the majority of the money comes from the TV money. So when we start talking about having people in the crowd versus just playing the game, hey, it looks like they're going to try to play these games regardless, and just they not worried about having fans in the stadium. They just go, hey, y'all play the game. Now, that's a totally different atmosphere for the players, though.
Yeah, it is, because you don't have nobody to
where's the energy
from. You want that, you know, you need that feedback as an athlete, you know, from, you know, the audience, so that, you know, you feel like you're accomplishing something. And it's kind of almost like you'll be practicing in a live game without having people in the stands, man. I don't know, you know, like I say, it's an ugly situation with this whole thing, and I'm like, you know, 30,000, okay. I mean, again, you got 100,000, you go down to 30,000. 30,000 is better than zero. You know,
exactly.
Maybe that works, and then you, like you said, the TV money's coming in, and then you still, you know, because that's what a lot of the money's made. But then the students, you know, they want to be compensated and entertained, and you know, and enjoy that part of their collegiate lifestyle, which is going to sporting events. That's one of the big parts of going to college. You know what I'm saying? Being able to go to the games.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. Going to the game.
Yeah. So it's, man, let me put it like this. I do not envy any college president, any college athletic director that has to figure this stuff out. I saw that some of the schools have already, you know, said, hey, our baseball team got to go. Our women's volleyball team got to go. Like they're actually cutting programs right now. So this is going to be very interesting when school starts, man, to see what programs last, what programs do not last. So it's going to be very interesting to see.
And it's still up in the air. I know a friend of mine was telling me out there in California, they've already canceled the fall school year. You know.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah.
And that's still in the air because they keep making the anticipation on what's to come in the fall. So, you know, fall is football season.
Exactly.
Fall is, I think they got, I don't know what other sports they play, but I know football is the main component in the fall. And it may be soccer a little bit. I think soccer might fall in there somewhere. Or
they definitely got you definitely got cross country. You definitely got. I mean, you got a lot of different sports that are coming from fall to winter to spring. So again, I mean, things have to be figured out. The finances have to be figured out. I mean, look at the NBA. They're trying to figure out how they're gonna get back rolling and finish their season. Major League Baseball hasn't even got started. I think Major League Soccer is trying to get, they can actually go to their facilities now and do some practicing outside. So it's going to be interesting, man. Like I say, I truly pray that as we open up, each state starts opening up and the country opens up as a whole, that that we stay healthy and safe, man, and that we can get back to some kind of normalcy. But I just honestly believe, and I've had this discussion with several people, I think you and I talked about it, that life is not going to be the same. We had 9/11, changed the whole way we do security at the airports around the country. I think we're looking for a similar thing to happen as we get to the end of the coronavirus. Hopefully it goes away soon, man. I don't know, and we as a whole just don't know. So I'm just praying for the best outcome possible, man. So as we finish our student athlete playbook video conversation, man, and again, thank you for taking time to do this. Our student athletes, I put a video up a couple of weeks ago, and I talked about the fact that, hey, you're a student first, athlete second, and now this really points to this now. Because let's say the whole landscape for professional sports is changed. It might be over for some leagues. Now, all these young men, all these young ladies that were looking to become professional athletes never really focused on education at all. The parents never really focused on education at all. My son is going pro. My daughter is going pro. What happens to them, my brother? Now that it was already a real small chance of you making it pro. Now with the coronavirus, the COVID-19, professional leagues are not even playing.
Right.
What are you gonna do to earn a living? What are you gonna focus on to start developing skills so that you can pay the bills? What are these student athletes gonna do, brother? What do they need? I said, what do they need to do? I don't mean. They said, but what should be a better outlook for them?
You just made an interesting point when you said these sports might be gone. That's a big word when you say, you know, the whole athletics in its entirety might be disappearing. So now we got to deal with what are your skill sets, you know, because you know, they say that, you know, most people we got three talents. Most people have three different talents, you know, that some of them they just never tap into. And one of those things that has to happen or let's say in the classroom is identifying those skills so that they can take some additional skills and create something else. Because if you don't, I mean, just think, you know, I spent my number of years rapping, you know, pursuing a music career, but I did have a degree. What if I didn't have a degree?
That's huge. Exactly.
You know, what if I betted it all on the music, and then I'm just out here struggling, trying to figure out my next move? And I got people I know like that who didn't finish school, so they, you know, they kind of hand them out and trying to make it. But I had certain skill sets that I could move on into other things and still make a living. And I think that's what has to be addressed with these young student athletes is you still got to make a living. Even after you play, if you make it to the big dance, you still, after it's all over. I was just watching, guy did a video about Michael Jordan after the dance, but he was like, you know, it's more to the story that they didn't talk about. So he went in and talked about his career with the Washington Wizards and how he came in, supposed to be general manager, and then from that point he decided to put the uniform on. But he bumps his knee with a player that he's playing with, and then boom, he had to go get surgery, so he was kind of really out for the season. But we all know Michael Jordan is a pretty smart guy, and he has other business endeavors that don't really involve him playing basketball. So he's in a position to continue to live on. You know, he's in a position where he can move forward. Now, his career as a basketball player had been set. He already had accomplished all his goals. But listen to some of these other athletes who come in, they may play 2 years, 3 years, and then boom, some major event happens, and then you got to go figure it out.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the issue that has to be addressed to the young student athlete is, hey man, being a high performance professional athlete and being paid to play, that's really an opportunity that only comes to one in a lifetime. And you gotta also take into account that you might not even make it past the first year. You got to come back. You got to have a skill set that will allow you to be able to continue to earn a living and possibly earn a good living and do something that you enjoy doing, because the sports is really just a extracurricular activity. You know, not, I mean, you take the population at large, it's probably 0.1% of the population, or even 0.001% of the population that has made it as a professional athlete, and then has made a long-lasting living, and then draws, you know, residual performance income, and gets other opportunities in conjunction with that, to where they don't never have to worry about money again. They're on the other side of money. So, and most of the athletes are not going to see that happen. And then if they don't go to school, then that's even worse, especially if they jump, you know, they do school a year or two and they say, okay, well, I'm leaving, I'm going to try to out for the pros. And then they get in that doesn't work. You know, they are really going to be lost, you will, over an extended period of time, which leads to drugs and leads to alcohol abuse and leads to domestic violence and, you know, single parenting and, you know, absentee fathers and yada, 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 because he didn't get to fulfill his potential, you know, as he was out here trying to make something out of himself from a athletic standpoint.
Wow. Man, you broke it. You broke it all the way down, man. I hope all the student athletes that are watching this video, hope all the parents, the coaches, the athletic directors, all the youth service providers, anybody that works with youth, I hope you just listen to what Dwon Alexander said about student athletes and what they have to do. They have to develop their skill sets. They have to develop another way to generate an income for themselves and their family, because regardless if they do make it to the pros, they will stop playing at some point in time. And how are you going to manage that money that you did make? So excellent, man. Thank you for sharing your thoughts on that, man. So as we finish up, man, from your experience out here in the digital marketplace, out here doing your thing, do you have any advice or any last word that you want to leave with the young student athletes that may watch this video, the parents, the coaches, the athletic directors? Is there anything you want to leave with them at this time?
I would probably say, with the state of the economy, the way things are, whether you're a student athlete or a coach or a parent of a student athlete, a teacher, you know, educator, or, you know, begin to look at ways to expound upon how you can be more impactful in the digital space. So just because you're in the classroom and you teach face to face, well, that's only one aspect of what you can do to be able to, one, brand yourself, market yourself, make yourself more valuable. You know, you can also, you know, put, you know, certain types of content, articles, blogs, podcasts, and begin to grow your audience. Even as a student athlete, you know, you could talk about your experiences as a student athlete, high school, middle school, you know, collegiate level, what have you, and begin to kind of expound upon ways to, you know, reach another audience and grow your following, if you will, which gives you time to develop and to, you know, dabble into what they call the global economy and the digital economy. You know, you no longer can we just look at things from surface level standpoint. You have to dig in the crates, if you will, so that you can be able to see both sides of the coin. Because, you know, you may be a principal, but then you also may be, you know, an educator that deals with, you know, children who come from domestic homes, abusive homes, and they need that nurturing. Well, that might be your podcast. You know, that might be your blog. You know, that might be your part-time consulting situation where you are, you know, so you're expounding and expanding yourself in more than one way, and that helps to reach individuals in, as they say, all the different modalities. You know, touch, smell, taste, feel. That's right. Somebody's got to find which one works for them, and I think that's what's most important right now in this particular situation, because everything is turned upside down. So you got to also turn yourself upside down and, kind of, look at yourself from a different angle.
Wow, I love it. Dwon Coolwater Alexander said, parents, student athletes, coaches, athletic directors, all you service providers, we have to dig deeper. We have to look in between the creases, in the cracks, and find out what's going on. And then we have to be real with ourselves to figure out what we want to do and how can we become better online and offline. That's the key.
That's correct.
Online and offline. Because as we found out during this time of national shutdown and as we start opening back up, there's a lot of different ways to skin the cat.
That's it.
And if you only got one way of working, then that could be trouble.
That could be trouble.
So, hey, Coolwater, man, I thank you, my brother, for taking the time to do this. Let everybody know where they can find you online to connect with you.
Okay. I appreciate you for having me, too, man. You can look for me at I got a blog. It's called ishiphopdead.com. That's ISHIPHOP dead, DEAD.com. All my contact information is there. I also have a podcast on there, and then I have a home-based site. And I know a lot of people like the name, but they're not familiar with the name. But I'm gonna say it anyway. DigitalDopeman.com. So look for me right there too. But all that location will take you to my various fan pages and Twitter pages and things of that nature. So ishiphopdead.com, man. And I'm I'm just trying to as you say, be a service provider and make sure I solve some problems.
Hey, there it is, brother. Well, hey, you heard it right out of his mouth. Dwon Coolwater Alexander, the digital dope man, out here being a disruptor, but being a disruptor in a positive way for positive things and serving the people, man. So definitely check him out online. Of course, check out the Student Athlete Achievement Program team, Youth Education and Sports, our nonprofit charity organization. And of course, go get the Amazon bestseller, the Student Athlete Playbook, Success in the Classroom, Sports, and Life. And hey, if this is not the time to learn how to be successful in life, I tell you, this is the time. So hey, check us out. You can go directly to the studentathleteplaybook.org. You can also go to youtheducationandsports.org, or you can go straight to Amazon and pick up all our materials, the Student Athlete Playbook, the Student Athlete Journal, the Facilitator's Guide, and our Knowing What It Takes, the Parent's Guide to College Athletics Eligibility. So, hey, y'all, thank y'all for watching this video. We appreciate you. We hope you learned something, and we'll be right back with you with another great Student Athlete Playbook video conversation. One love.
All right. Take care.
Can't think straight, nor can I see. It sounds like somebody else is talking to me. Wake up, call clammy with blood.